on this show specifically, we watch a lot of movies where that's not really the option. This is a type of movie that we watch where I'm like, nah. I want to see Kong whip someone with mini Kong in the face, you know, like.
Is that a mini Kong?
What's up, YouTube? Drive By Movies here, and you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name's Blaze.
And today we're checking out Adam Wingard's new sequel to the Godzilla or MonsterVerse franchise, Godzilla Kong, A New Empire.
We've made some minor augmentations.
Oh.
The New Empire is the story of two ancient titans, Godzilla and Kong, that clash in an epic battle as humans unravel their intertwined origins and connection to Skull Island's mysteries. So, James, you're a huge Godzilla head. I know you just started really getting into it after you watched Godzilla -1. That was your first Godzilla movie. So now that and it's the best. It's your first Godzilla movie, and you've also said that it's also the best. By the way, you didn't watch any of the other 30 film. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, yeah, go into your history into Godzilla.
Yeah, so for those here, maybe you found out about us through our Godzilla -1 review, both of us liked it, but both of us didn't say it was the best Godzilla movie of all time. And luckily, nobody got offended, but I know a couple people are just like, what are you even talking about? It's like, we've seen them all. And this one is very reminiscent of some of the ones in the 70s, which is actually my least favorite era of Godzilla anyways. My favorite is the Heisei series from the late 80s to the early to mid 90s. Anyways, this movie, I want to talk about Godzilla and Kong, of course. But I feel like there's something you and I also need to talk about. It's the reunion of Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, and Dan Stevens. All the main people who were behind of The Guest and stuff. And speaking of The Guest, I was very surprised to hear a familiar song where I was like, why does this song sound familiar? And I found out it's a remixed or redone version of the sequel album that they made. It was called The Guest Part 2, and it was just had song titles of, like, if we made a movie, this is the direction the movie would have went and stuff. And yeah, one of the songs in this Godzilla Kong movie was from that album, which I absolutely was stoked to find out about. But you just saw it. What did you think coming out of the theaters? I saw opening day. You just saw it right now. Let me know what you thought.
Fresh out of the D-Box chair. I went comatose in that chair. It's basically a 2-hour massage, just nonstop action. D-Box just vibrating my chair. But honestly, yeah, it was very entertaining. Obviously, yeah, this is the first. I've never seen a movie in D-Box, so I'm like, it was only $10. Let's try this out. I think that this is probably the movie. This is enough dumb fun. The only other film I could see myself really enjoying in D-Box is Roadhouse, probably, which we talked about last week. I think that would be pretty fun in it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It's just stupid, mindless fun. I think it's not a good movie by any means. I feel very similar to this film as I felt about Roadhouse. I know a lot of people are fresh off Godzilla -1 and then saw the trailer for this and that trailer looks bad. And even regardless of seeing Godzilla -1, I thought this trailer in this film looked pretty bad. But it's just dumb, mindless fun, and it was honestly a ton of fun. Great action sequences, they're pretty funny moments. I thought that Dan Stevens' Trapper was just a really entertaining and fun character. Like you said, that reunion between the trifecta, raising the Triforce here for Godzilla and Kong, it was pretty fun to see. And I liked a lot of aspects of this movie. I will say it's a lot weaker of a film than Godzilla versus King Kong. I felt sorry, I forgot the title to that for a second, even though it seems pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, I thought that this was a weaker film. I had more fun, due to the circumstances. I didn't see the original in theaters because I feel like that was released on Max kind of when theaters weren't open, right? It wasn't even really possible to see that.
It was the first movie to kind of get a wide release again, and I did see it in theaters, but I remember it was back when, you know, you had to sit every other row and had to have 3 seats in between you and another group.
Yeah. And this
also came out at Max at the same time too.
Yeah, and that movie probably and this movie also obviously are like crowd pleasers, you know, like they want you to get up and cheer in your seat and, you know, stuff like that. There were people at the end of the movie clapping for the film. I'm like, guys, it's it's like 7 on a Thursday after the movie's already released. Like, what are you guys clapping? I was just so confused, but that always confuses me when people clap after a movie. I'm like, unless the director's there or there's a Q&A or something, like, why would you even like just stop? This isn't like a Broadway show or something, you know?
I mean, that's fun though, and I'm glad that your audience had a fun time. I definitely had a blast with it. I'd say it is a weaker film compared to the last one. This one definitely does cut the fat of a lot of the problems that Godzilla King of the Monsters kind of created. Like, I know a lot of people really love that movie in this franchise, but like, I don't know, that movie just kind of insinuated that like all the fight scenes had to be in dark sequences. It had to like focus on a human drama and be dark, but I like that Adam Wingard made it more light and fun, and he slowly cut out a lot of the humans in the last one. He cuts them out a little bit more in this one. Like, I think Brian Henry is a lot more funnier in this movie. I thought him working with kids in the last movie just was weird and just didn't work whatsoever. Dan Stevens, like you said, was also a fun time, I thought, within this movie. And then I was very surprised by the direction this movie went in, just because if anyone who's seen, you know, if you've ever seen, you know, spoilers here, but if you've ever seen Godzilla versus Mothra, or even Godzilla versus Mothra, The Battle for Earth, you always know that there's this like secret society of, you know, people who worship Mothra as the protector of Earth, always has the environment's best interests and everything. And that was missing with the last one, and then they kind of brought it into this franchise, I guess you could say. So, like I said, definitely inspired by the Showa era versions of Godzilla movies. I'd say that's where the movie drags the most. I can see why a lot of people might have liked that stuff or been super excited if you're old school Godzilla fans. But, you know, even as a kid, that stuff bored me, and it still bored me as an adult.
Yeah, it's interesting because I did feel like like you said, he cut out a lot of the human stuff, but I did feel like there was too much of it. But there wasn't really that much of it, but it still just felt like too much, especially when there's multiple sequences in this film that donate themselves to being like almost like straight out of a silent movie, but with monsters. There's literally no dialogue. It's a lot of Kong just gestating and you know, being and emoting like what he's feeling. And I don't think that those sequences even really worked for me. It's just like, as soon as, if this movie is just going to be stupid fun, as soon as it gets to the human parts, I'm tapping out. Like, anytime that the child sequences are on, like, I'm just like, oh dude, just can we get to the next scene? I don't know, like, this is one of those movies where I just want to fully turn my brain off. And on this show specifically, we watch a lot of movies where that's not really the option. This is a type of movie that we watch where I'm like, nah. I want to see Kong whip someone with mini Kong in the face, you know, like that was probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Honestly, one of the funniest. I was dying laughing seeing that. I could not believe they went in that direction using a kid as a baseball bat. I was dying laughing. And, you know, I guarantee that was probably like a Simon Barrett thing, I feel like. But I was also very impressed by like them going for like child-friendly gore within this movie, because the opening scene, Kong ripping that like hyena thing in half and like drinking its blood and eating its guts, and then we see Godzilla do the same thing at one point too. Like, I was surprised. Like, it's really fun to see like just kind of B movie gore within a kids PG-13 monster movie. You know, I'm glad that it was like appropriate and wasn't considered too gross or too gory for kids and everything. Like, I'm glad those things got through just fine with the MPAA, and I'm glad that Warner Brothers approved that stuff too. But yeah, like, overall, I guess like those are the funnest parts of the, or the most fun parts of the movie, because you would think like the final fight scene would have been the most entertaining. I'd say that's actually kind of the weakest like moments of the movie, the final fight, because they're building up for this. They're building up Scar King, they're building up this Shimu character, and then, you know, we out of nowhere, this big surprise of Mothra. That was one of the things that really surprised me. I had no idea Mothra was going to be in the movie. But, overall, that fight was just kind of lackluster. Didn't have the memorable moments. Like, you could say the zero gravity was fun, but that's the very early intro to the fight. Godzilla, or Kong riding Godzilla, that's a cool shot. But again, at the very beginning. But I will always remember, as you said, little Kong being used as a baseball bat.
Where's like a whip or something. Yeah, that scene, I think for me the ending wasn't as much of a letdown, only because like the D-Box add an element to that fight where it like there wasn't boring. I'm a huge Mothra fan, as we know, but Mothra is probably the most boring monster in all of the monster universe. She usually just flies around and makes annoying noises, and she does that in this film and honestly kills the whole last sequence. But at least in D-Box, like my seat was going like, whoa, she's flying, oh my god. But anyways, yeah, like that wasn't a letdown for me, at least, but I can see where it would be. I think that character has always been kind of dull. I've enjoyed that character only because like that was like one of the first toys I had as a child, so I just have like instant gravitation towards that character. But when you actually watch it, yeah, it's not the most exciting thing.
Yeah, one thing I'm really glad that this movie also did, though, was change the design of Godzilla, whether it was his fins turning pink, but also him getting slimmed down, too. That was always one of my bigger gripes with this franchise. Like, Godzilla's always been bulky, but more in the thigh area. And I always thought he was too bulky. Like, his head looked way too small for his body. I'm glad that they slimmed him down to make him this ultimate form. And I really like the inspiration of the Millennium Godzilla design being incorporated here. But monsters, I hope they bring back an original monster again, just because it's cool to get a Mothra like cameo or Mothra secret surprise role within this movie. But I think it's time to bring back a old big baddie from one of the original franchise, whether it's like someone like Biollante or Destroya or something. Or I would love to see Gigan and Megalon team up together and then see them fight Kong and Godzilla. But yeah, that's the direction I hope this franchise goes in, and I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. I do think that we were at least let down with the fact that King of the Monsters is just such a lackluster movie, that the cinematography and especially the coloring work in that film just kind of ruins the whole movie. Like, King of the Monsters is my favorite like storyline, obviously my favorite older film. So to see like those monsters, those iconic monsters, and not be able to see them in the movie, like you see that they're in the movie, but you can't really make anything out, and it's just so short and fast. It's just such a bummer. So I agree with you. I want to see some of those older monsters come back in a more Adam Wingard friendly version, and maybe he doesn't direct it, but just one that isn't all shot in complete darkness and you can't see anything. It's my least favorite era of blockbuster filmmaking.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that we're kind of done with that, with the over-the-top neon or daytime fight sequences. So, yeah, this movie's in theaters. A lot of people already saw it, and a lot of people are still seeing it. It's, whether it's, there's not really a whole lot coming out till May. May is almost upon us, but, highly recommend going to check it out. Great movie to shut your brain off. Watch Roadhouse at home. Want to go see a movie? Go see Godzilla Kong, because it's going to be a fun time. Great way to help support the show. Just letting us know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let us know what your favorite Godzilla movie is, because I will talk to you nonstop about it.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, be sure to catch all our social media links down below. We got Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as our own personal Letterboxd accounts. That'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.